I'm going to show you how to save valuable space and maybe even more importantly, your valuable time. Happy New Year and welcome back to my channel. I'm Robeson and thank you so much for joining me for all my Christmas decorating videos this year. I hope you were inspired and I hope it helped you with making your home beautiful for the holidays. Today we're going to take it to the next step because you know Christmas actually isn't over. Now it's time to put away and store and organize your Christmas decorations. This is a really fun video for me because I filmed it last year. You know why I did that? Because in order for me to film a video and have it edited and ready to go up the first week in January, I'd have to take my Christmas decorations down before Christmas. And I'm not going to do that because I have a family too and I want my home to be beautiful. So last year when we took down my Christmas decorations, we filmed it and we saved it for you now to come out at the perfect time of the year, just when you need it. What do I mean by saving valuable time? Because clearly, if you follow my 10 steps that I'm about to share with you, it's going to take you some time to do it properly. But I'm talking about next year, creating an environment where you can find what you're looking for. When you open the bin, it's going to be in perfect condition and it's going to be in the most condensed amount of space possible. So are you ready? Let's get started with the top 10 tips that I have for organizing and storing your Christmas decorations. A lot of you have been watching my videos for a long time and probably you have in your mind right now my Christmas decorations that you see up as we speak. Take your mind back to last year when it was a frosty forest Christmas. And that's what we're going to deconstruct. But before we do, let's just take one moment to appreciate what it looked like last year. When you take your Christmas decorations down, you need a few items. So let's talk about the things that you're going to need. The most important tools are wire cutters. You're going to need a pair of scissors and some pipe cleaners to keep things organized. Of course, you're going to need tape and a Sharpie, and then really cool, the stackable storage bins. Oh, and yeah, it would be really great if you could get yourself some helpers. You guys have come in very helpful, posing as me so I can get a nice, good, sharp focus. I'm going to start with the staircase. And instead of bringing the tubs up, I'm going to take things off and lay them out. Tip number 1, and this is a global universal tip. Take everything apart. Whether it's your tree, maybe it's your staircase, it's a garland somewhere, or a wreath, even a fireplace mantle. Take it apart by category. I'm going to lay these out in groups of what they are, then I'll know which tubs I need, okay? I have to take off the twigs, and then it's time to take the entire garland down. Step number 2, use storage bins for all of your decorations. All of these go in here, okay? Something like this that are clear. And it's kind of a milky clear. It's not like an acrylic fully see-through. It's kind of opaque to a certain degree, but look how you can see things through them. By using the same bins, they are so easy to stack on top of each other. Again, providing you with the most storage in the least amount of space. And here's the second type of tub that I like. This is by Hefty, and I've started buying these for specific reasons. Now, again, if they're all the same, they stack well, but Take a look at this. When you have your balls, and basically you can only fill to the top of the bin, what happens if you have a particularly large ball? If you had this in a tub like this and it was at the top, you would crush it. The weight of anything on top of it will crush these balls. So here's the cool thing about these hefty ones. Do you see this lid? That extra 2 inches buys you some extra well-needed, much-needed space. And your balls are in perfect condition and safe. This is where you can really save some space by consolidating everything by category and by color and or texture into one specific bin. We have different types of garland. We've got that green one there, the lime green. Basically you push it down because this stuff does not need to, this stuff can be completely flattened. And this stuff can take up so much room if you let it. Okay, so this is cedar garland, light green. I find that a simple piece of blue painter's tape with black Sharpie identifying what's in each bin is extremely helpful. But remember, when you put them away, face them where the tag or the tape is facing outward. Now it's time for friendship tea. I think sugar. A lot of companies nowadays have those zippered red, totes that have compartmentalized spaces for each one of your balls. Nice if you've got a ton of room, but if you don't, follow the way I do it because it will save you so much space. It'll also be easier to find what you're looking for next year because those red totes, they're not see-through. What I want you to do is start with icicles. So you take a bin, you take one here, and I want you to go from tree to tree to tree and get all of the icicles off at one time, okay? But here's the important thing. You absolutely positively have to take every hook off of every ornament, every icicle, everything, because they scratch each other. For years, I have saved my hooks when we take them off the balls and we stick them in a pile and we put them in a Ziploc bag. Well, guess what? It is a hot mess the following year. From now on, me included, I'm gonna toss those things out and get brand new hooks every year. They're so inexpensive, but it saves you frustration and it saves you time. Honestly, when you buy yourself some new balls and if they happen to come in a box, immediately discard the box. It's only going to take up more room in your storage area. Store your balls and ornaments by color. I almost had, but mine didn't break. Did you notice that? I know how to drop them. Okay. Oh my. Well, that one definitely broke. Like I said, I know how to drop them. Okay, and then someone go get a thing of, bubble wrap. You know what these are? These are bags of bubble wrap that I have saved off of everything that's come into my home over the last year. Why is that? Well, I don't want to go out and buy new bubble wrap every year, but if I can reuse stuff that's already come into my home, it's also very environmentally friendly to do that. Got you there. And honestly, you're gonna find that you're gonna need this stuff. Some of these are actually like individual little things, like little bags. They're really great. So reuse the bubble wrap that comes into your home between now and next Christmas. Next thing, once you've got a good layer in there, is to put another layer of bubble wrap and do the same. You just layer it over and over again and your balls and ornaments will be safe and perfect next time you open the box. Store your snowflakes and your icicles separately. If we put this here, I was just showing your son, we come through and you're cutting each one off here. You're not taking it down from the ceiling. If you're like me and you have a collection of icicles and snowflakes, it's very precious to me, and I want those things as my investment to last. So I've come up with a way that I can store them safely. So I have quite the collection of icicles. I've been collecting them for absolutely years, and I never seem to have enough. I always want more. When I see them in a store somewhere, especially if they're on sale, I buy them. But the way I keep them from year to year in perfect condition is I separate them by style, put them in these kind of styrofoam type bags, then I roll them up, use one that's just like what's in here. I use packing tape to capture it that tells me what is in this particular roll. It makes it so nice every year, and I know that my icicles are very protected. I also can store them in a much tighter container than I could otherwise. So what we're gonna do is the same way we have done everything else, item by item, and we're gonna stack them on the floor, make piles, and then we're gonna put them in the bins. But that way we get everything out at the same time. So these guys, they just come right out. I'll pull them out and hand them to you. Tell you what, it comes off a lot faster than it went on, that's for sure. Now I'm gonna ask you to go around on the other side, and anything you see that looks like these icy pieces, pull them out. I think we just laid everything up here, as I recall now. Once we get all this down, I'm also going to want you to get the books that are up there. I put books up there to fill in the space because it drops down. Anastasia just arrived, and I had the boys go for lunch because now it's time for me to go in and film the live Q&As for the Design Sessions members, which we do every month. And I take members' photos, their challenges of things that they're stuck on. I mean, they're Design Sessions members, so they're learning design principles, and they know a lot of what to do, but still, there's often times where you go, I just don't know what to do here. So they send me their photos and I draw on top of them, and that's what I'm gonna go do now. So we gotta take a break and get this done. Walk over.
Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's
6
go.
is a brand new thing that I just discovered last year, and I think it's absolutely amazing. I cannot tell you how many artificial poinsettias or leaves I have thrown out over the years because, as you know, they begin to curl. The fabric on them curls, and they look haggard. So here's what I discovered. I just tried a little experiment, and that was, what would happen if I ironed these? Is that even possible? I have this on a relatively low setting, and look at this. I was able to lay the leaf out, and I was shocked at how beautiful and what a huge difference it made. Look at that. So look at this leaf. This is a loser leaf, okay? Let's see what happens with this one.
I'm in the visit. No, he wouldn't miss it.
Now all of the leaves are straight, and look how beautiful it looks after they've all been ironed. Now this is a poinsettia. Here's how nice I can make that look, and maybe that's good enough, but what if I decide to at least iron the backs of them?
Rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart.
And all the glitter still stays on, which is remarkable to me. I left the ones on the inside a little more crinkly to perhaps get a more natural look. But it does look somewhat revived, don't you think? Tip number 7, the lights. It's what brings the magic to Christmas. Storing your lights is an art. And within this tip, there's a bunch of little tips. So let's take a look at what they are. When you have pre-lit garlands, leave those lights on. But if you've added any lights, take those off and store those separately. This right here is it's a fairy light is what it's called. See how that's that? That is separate from this strand of green that twinkles. And I do them individually just to get the effect that I'm looking for. But next year, you're gonna want to know what's what, and you're gonna want it to still be working. So let's go on to another tip within tip number 7, and that is, if you are going to store your lights, be sure to plug all of your lights in before it goes in the bin. I'm going to check them before I keep them. Gosh darn it, see? Well, I'm just easing my load, less to have to pack. And if you're one of those people that tries to like fix the bulbs and put them in there and all that kind of stuff, if you're using the lights that are already pre-lit on your garland and you have the extra light bulbs and the little fuses they give you, make sure that you label them specifically, or you're gonna end up with this. You know what this is? This is worthless. You know why? Because every one of these lighting manufacturers has a different shape and size for the female and the male, and they don't interchange with each other. I wouldn't be able to identify where any of these bulbs go according to what I'm trying to fix, because back in the day, I didn't label them. Well, now I do. So put a quick, simple label on the actual thing. If it's a Christmas tree, so try to identify it in a way that next year and 9 years from now, you're gonna know exactly which one it is. Aha, those work. These are shells. Hello, Coastal Christmas. That's why I have all these. This is for glam, this is for coastal, and look, they still work. Once you know that your lights work, go ahead and wrap them up in the way that I do, or a way that you enjoy doing, but wrap them up.
We're gonna dance, dance, have a good time, dance, dance.
An extra step that I think is very important. How many of you have ever opened up something, maybe a flashlight or something that's had batteries in it stored for a year? And it's not so much about the flashlight working anymore, it's that it's got this white powder stuff, it's corrosion. It's probably something more than that, some sort of chemical buildup that comes with batteries. So every year I take all of my batteries, lots of AA's, out. See how easy that is? And I put them in a box that I mark Christmas. And these batteries are probably, you know, there's no way to tell how much has been used on them, but there's probably 50% ability to use it again next year. You leave these in here all year long and they may work next year, or they may just arrive with a bunch of corrosion all over them. So I take all the batteries out of my battery operated lights now. Same thing with my battery operated candles. Take your batteries out. You do know you're talking to the Christmas queen, right? Like, I have an incredibly insane amount of Christmas stuff. So I have to go to greater depths and measures to do my Christmas lights. You may have just enough to fit in one bin or even half of a bin. I have enough to fit in 6 bins. So I go the extra step and I separate them by style. Why is that? Well, when I want my battery operated fairy lights, I go to my bin that says fairy lights, and they're in there. I don't have to go through 6 bins going, I know they're in here somewhere. That's what you want to avoid. And I'm going to tell you honestly, the reason I've come up with these steps, even in my own Christmas decorating, is because I get so frustrated with not being able to find things. I know I have it. I know I used it. I don't know, 8 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Where is it? Following these steps is going to help you avoid that very unfortunate scenario that, you know, raise your hand if you've actually ever done that. I see you. Is anyone interested in how I'm going to preserve these ribbons to use them again at a later Christmas? When I finish my Christmas decorating, I always undo all of my ribbons. The reason for that is ribbons are not inexpensive, especially ones like this beautiful velvet with the gold on the inside and the wire on the edges. And I'm telling you what, if you don't redo them every year, you're going to have creases in your velvet or in your ribbons that you cannot get out. So the way to compensate for that, I mean, look how deep that crease is. But you know, I can use this ribbon again. Sometimes I wrap these around like paper towel holders or even toilet paper holders that are empty, of course. And I just tightly wrap it around and I get myself a nice little, when it has this heavy wire in it, really you can just do them in little bundles like that. This very thick red velvet ribbon does just perfectly fine putting them in little bundles like that. But if you're working with a ribbon that won't stay closed like this, that's when I just go back to my old faithful pipe cleaners. I mean, I use these everywhere, all day, all the time at Christmas time. Tip number 9, be sure to adequately bubble wrap your figurines, anything that is of great value to you. Sometimes figurines are made out of felt or wood. It doesn't need to be protected. But when you have something like this, these antlers can easily break. So can the feet and the ears and the nose. Take extra special care to bubble wrap these things and maybe store them separately. And when it comes to tubs, okay, you're gonna put these in a tub, right? Some of your tubs you will not be able to get in a clear see-through version. Like in my basement, I have large tubs and you can't see through them. So labeling them accurately is incredibly important. Otherwise, that's a lot of heavy stuff to keep opening up and going through to try to find something. And here's an idea of what you can do when you're trying to store a Christmas tree and you can't see through the bag. How do you know which one is the one you want to use? Try this method. If you have multiple trees and they're in bags and you can't quite see through the bags, I decided this year, this is actually a new thing I'm doing for organization, and that is I actually took photos of the trees and I'm gonna stick them in either in the little plastic pouch or tape them to the bag itself. That way, when I look at the bag or when Eric looks at the bag next year, we'll know exactly which trees are in which bags. Should make things a lot easier. Tip number 10, this is an important one. Now, it depends on where you store your Christmas decorations. If you're storing them in a closet, then the fact that your tubs are stackable is going to be totally in your favor. But let's say you have a room or a place like I have, a basement, where you can store your things. I'm going to put a link in the description box below of the shelves, but they're from Home Depot. They're not terribly expensive, but they fit the size of these bins perfectly, and it allows you to store so much stuff, and they're very easy to pull out. If you're stacking these, let's say you stack them 6 or 8 high, you're putting pressure and weight on each one of the lids, which means you could have some breakage of your balls and ornaments, and you have to take them all off in order to pull out the one that's below. So these shelves are awesome, so I highly recommend you do that. If you use all 10 of these tips in your organization and takedown of Christmas, I promise you, your Christmas next year is going to be so much more of an enjoyable experience. I hope you guys had an amazing Christmas this year. I hope it was more beautiful than it's ever been before. Again, I want to thank you for watching my videos and coming along and doing this with me. I think it was the best idea for us to film it last year so that we can get this out to you right now. Because in real time, you can see my house is still decorated, isn't it? Yes, and guess what? Today, in real time, is New Year's Day. I'm filming this by myself on New Year's Day. And tomorrow, I have a group of about 4 or 5 helpers, friends that I've met here that are fans and they follow me on YouTube. They live here in Tulsa and they are coming to my house tomorrow to help me take down Christmas 2023. I'm gonna miss it. We are gonna have a little toast tonight with champagne to what a beautiful Christmas it was. But I can tell you right now, guess what's happening as soon as my Christmas stuff is down? I'm going to Dallas, Texas with Amber Marie to shop for 2024 Christmas. I mean, you liked what I did this year? Oh my gosh. We're gonna bring to you even better next year than what we brought you this year. So I can't wait for you to see. I already know my theme, but I'm not gonna tell you. I want you to wait. Anticipation. Is that really a song? Da, 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 da. If it's not, it should be. It's a good one. All right, you guys, welcome to 2024, myself included. Who am I to welcome you to 2024? But welcome back to my channel in 2024. I look forward to bringing you all kinds of amazing videos this year. And for those of you that are new to my channel, welcome. Those of you who are following along, but you've never taken the time to subscribe, will you do me a favor? Will you hit that subscribe button? It helps us a lot here on YouTube, and we know you're out there, so we want to see you. Also, feel free to leave me a comment and let me know what you thought about this episode today if it's helpful for you. Here's a question. What is your tradition as to when you take your Christmas decorations down? Do you have a tradition, like you do it every year the day after Christmas, or you do it the day after New Year's, or you do it 2 weeks after? You know, what's your tradition? I want to know. Mine, I don't really have a tradition. It depends on my travel schedule and everything else that's going on. So I can tell you this year, it starts tomorrow. And guess what? We're gonna follow those 10 tips like there's no tomorrow because I know it works. All right, you guys, I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me today. Love you. Bye-bye. Okay, I need to be cognizant of how much time all of this takes too. Come on, Bruce. Thank you for holding my place.